Bismillahirrahmanirrahim ji. Today we are going to learn about what school management, as the title of today's session is what learning the basics of school management. It's a huge field, what should I call it, and that's why I mentioned what basics of school management. As in the previous sessions we had been talking about what that teaching methodology, preschooling, different aspects of schooling. So when you talk about this schooling, it's a huge world. Okay? It's a science within itself. That's why I always call it that education is what a scientific process. Okay? It's very much scientific. Okay? It needs care. It needs meditation. It needs pondering. It needs reflection, planning and replanning, strategizing and re-strategizing. Clear? Because the lives of children, clear, or I must say that the future civilization, future society is linked with schooling. When we talk about a school, it's not just a school that where certain children are there to learn some science, some mathematics, clear, some language or something. Clear? We can also say that we shape, clear, the mindset of a society, a community. Clear? So it's a huge field. Today we'll try to cover just few segments of that, basic segments of that. What is basically school management? And usually when we talk about generally school management, usually what I observed that when all these segments, I'm repeatedly focusing on this word of segments, different segments of school management, clear, or different aspects of school management. Why am I doing so? Because it is observed that when talking about school management, it happens that we focus on certain area, ignoring certain other area. It causes damage. For example, talking about teachers, clear, very important, clear, element in school management. I'm focusing too much. For example, I'm focusing too much on teachers training, clear. But on the other hand, I'm ignoring one segment or one element in that, which is that students development. Teachers development or staff development I'm focusing, but I'm ignoring child development. Don't you think that I'll be at loss? Or at least I won't be able to get my ultimate task, ultimate goal. So before taking a start with that, clear, the most important thing in that always go for this question, as I usually say, that orientation, to orient my own self. What is the task there? School. Clear? What? Clear? As I go for these questions, WH questions, that what is to be done? Why is that to be done? How is that to be done? Clear? Who will do it? Clear? What mechanism will be followed? So at first, that my objective must be clear. Clear? That what is that school for? Clear? What's the purpose of that school? Is it just to move the children from one grade to another? Or is it just to make them cram or rot or learn certain segment of certain information in a specific grade? Okay? Then I think that I'm not fulfilling my duty. Okay? Or what is ultimate target, clear, or whether I'm just going for the information dealing in certain grades, or I'm trying to prepare the children for upcoming challenges. Is that clear? For example, the current age is what? The age of what? Computer technology and information technology. Clear? And I am focusing all the time upon what? Literature, languages, clear, social sciences. Don't you think that there will be a gap there? Clear? There will be a flaw there, a loophole there. So I need to, at first, before moving towards all these segments, at first I need to clear my, or I need to settle my direction. That what is the direction of my school? Clear? That whether I want to promote what certain business personnel, business management. Clear? I want to promote what future leaders. Clear? Socio-political sciences. I want to promote what future religious scholars, religious minds. Clear? Or I want to promote future soldiers. Clear? As you know, certain military schools are there. Got my point? So at first I need to clarify that what sort of school I'm actually working upon. Clear? School management comes later. At first we need to know about it. Whenever we are talking, we are a part of class of certain school management. As today's session is there for what? For whom? For school leaders. School leaders basically means what? That the people who run a school, who manage a school. Clear? Who are the policy makers. So before making certain policy, I need to define exactly what sort of school I'm going to work upon. When that is clear, obviously my policy would be in accordance with that. For example, as I mentioned, management sciences, social sciences, religious sciences, clear that military schools, whatever it is. So obviously my policy would be there on those bases, no? That what sort of children I need. And generally what we are discussing today here, we are talking about what a general type of clear multiple type of school where the children can be focused upon keeping in mind the requirements of 21st century where we will be discussing what multiple sort of school. Why multiple? Because the age is multiple, variety is there. Clear? That though basic, as I mentioned, that computer and information technology is there. Clear? That sciences are there at the boom. Clear? The modern world is based upon what? Technology. Technological advancements are required. Clear? Though social sciences, I'm not negating that. Clear? The importance of these subjects is there. Clear? But basically what is it? That the demand of era. Clear? And that is what variety. That is what dynamic aspect. So we need to work upon children in multiple ways, giving them multiple exposure. Clear? So moving towards those different segments, that what are those basic segments of school management? Being a student, clear? How can I check the things? How can I work upon the things? That what are the important things which I should keep in my mind, clear, while talking about what? School management. In that, we basically divide the school management into 4 phases. Clear? What are these 4 phases? At first you can just jot them down. Number 1 is planning. Number 2 is training. Number 3 is evaluation. And number 4 is a reinforcement. I may repeat, planning, training, evaluation, and reinforcement. Before moving towards the details, shortly, that at first I need to plan. What am I supposed to do? Is my direction clear? Is my objective clear? What do I want to do? What is the purpose of that school? What are the major areas I'll focus upon? How will I plan them? How will I strategize them? What are those different phases of planning, ji? What are the different areas of planning? As I mentioned in the beginning, that sometimes it happens that we focus on one aspect and ignoring the other. That causes damage instead of any improvement or instead of any usefulness. We actually damage the school or the school system or children or education or studies. We'll try our level best today to learn this planning phase, how to plan. Whether you are going to begin some new school or whether you already have a school and you are working in that, as the session is repeatedly I'm telling that for what for who? Educational leaders. Whatever you are, wherever you are, whether you are going to begin with some new school or whether you are going to take a start for the improvement of some already established school. The first thing you will focus on what? Planning. How to plan and what are the different areas. Then training. Usually it is seen that sometime planning policies are superb. Excellent sort of policies are there. Well planned mechanism is there. As we here at Alpha Centauri, we are also consultants. We offer consultancy for schools. We can give them that already planned, well thought, considered material for their school. But what about the people who will actually execute that? Are they well trained? Let me simplify it. For example, you planned something. And you are there, while planning, you are there with certain mindset. You have your own thinking. There must be certain idea in your mind while making that plan. But am I aware about that plan? Suppose you are planner, I am executor. I am executioner. Clear? I am working upon it. Clear? Don't you think that at first I need clarity? This clash can also once again damage. And usually it is observed that things are well planned. Things are well strategized. Policy is superb. Clear? Basic ideals are, in majority of the school, basic ideals are superb. Clear? But the people who work upon that plan seem to be La salama ala majlasatil ilm bachi. That's supposed to be well aware about that, no? Got my point? And if a person, for example, you are a teacher, clear, I planned something, and you are not well aware about my planning, I didn't discuss with you the details of that plan. Do you think that will you be able to execute that plan properly? Obviously, there will be certain problems. So this is called training. That's why I always oppose that generics or general type of training, clear, which involves only what she shoulds and musts. That this should be done, that should be done. Everybody knows about it. That everybody knows that in a classroom, that students should be worked upon like this. Clear? These areas must be focused upon. Everybody knows. But then there comes a question, how? Clear? And those general workshops or general trainings, what happens there? That the person, resource person who is actually a trainer, master trainer, clear, he is there with certain plan in his mind. Clear? And he is training them. And they are not aware about the plan behind that training. So they won't be able to get the required results. Am I clear, ji? So this is called training basically. That what is the planning? Clear? What is the curriculum? What is the overall design of that education model? What are the objectives? What will be the strategies? What will be the mechanism? What will be the timings? The staff must be well trained about it. So that's why I mentioned what chi. Second phase is what chi? Training. Everybody must be well aware about that. For example, ji, that within a school, ji, inside classroom or on campus, in the premises, you people are trying your level best to maintain what? Courtesy, clear, or a civilized environment. Inside the school, everybody is treating the child what chi? In a very civilized manner. But your gatekeeper is unruly with children, ill-mannered, ill-humored with children. Don't you think that your plan would fail just because of that one person and you didn't train him? Are you getting my point? Within your school, classrooms, teachers, everybody is treating that child, clear, in a very civilized manner, clear. But your helping staff is treating children what chi? Harshly. Don't you think that your plan would fail? There would be a clash, no? Got my point? So when I'm saying training, it means that everybody who is connected with that chi. It could be their chi, admin staff, it could be their academic staff, whoever it is. They must be well trained chi. Otherwise, the whole plan would lead to a failure, a disaster. Ji. Third phase, evaluation. Ji. Once again, it is observed ji, that workshops are there, trainings are there. Ji. After planning, people are trained, but they are not evaluated. Ji. How would I come to know that whether I succeeded in conveying that plan properly or not? Sometimes, don't you think that misunderstandings are there? Sometimes plan is not conveyed or trained clearly. That's why it is said, no, half knowledge is death. I said something else and you perceived something reverse of that. And I didn't evaluate it. How would I come to know that whether my plan, phase 1, after training, phase 2, working properly or not? Can I judge without evaluation? No, ji. So third phase is what, ji? Evaluation. That whether that plan was conveyed clearly or not, number 1. Number 2, sometimes you don't think that plan is also there with certain loopholes. According to policy makers, strategizers, they planned well. But plan was actually there with certain loopholes, with certain flaws. I planned, I trained well. And when I'll evaluate, then I'll come to know whether my plan was right or wrong, suitable or not. It depends, no? Are you getting my point, ji? Sometimes problem is not there with the staff, ji. Very important point I am highlighting. I have seen many people, ji, school owners, school leaders complaining that teachers are not doing this properly, ji, or staff is not doing this properly, ji. When I observed it, ji, the plan was there were certain problems. The problem was not there with the teacher. Problem was there with what? Planning. How would I come to know about it? When I evaluate. So third phase is what, ji? Evaluation. Are you noticing the importance of all the phases? For example, ji, of this flow and plan, ji, I've noticed that, ji, that the person who is teaching, clear, usually in certain big system where centralized system is there, that person is not involved in the process of planning. Certain things are planned by certain individual, clear, and conveyed to certain other individuals for the execution. For example, teachers, clear, and they were not involved in the process of what? Planning. Will they be able to execute it properly? What I have observed now, they failed to. Clear? Because they were not the part of that process. For example, planners here. Clear? Somebody prepared planners and somebody else is teaching according to those planners. Clear? Obviously, clear, there would be certain problems now. So when that person is failed to teach that properly, is he or she at fault, or is there some problem in the planning? Obviously in the planning. Or if the problem is not there in the planning, clear, the person was not involved in that process of planning. Am I clear? I made the planner, I handed it over to you. I made it with my own mind. Clear? With my own strategies, with my own technique. Clear? Though I trained you for the implementation of that. But can you be me? Got my point, ji? We won't be there on the same page. Obviously, there will be certain clashes now. Clear? Your style, your individual approach, clear, will also be there. So, when I am planning and I am also involving you during that process of planning, we would be on one page. Got my point, ji? And later on, it can be checked that whether whatever we plan together, is it right or wrong? Or is it right with certain loopholes or not? Clear? In third phase, where what we call it, what, ji? Evaluation, ji. So evaluation is also very important. Got my point, ji? And fourth phase is what, ji? A reinforcement. You can also call it what? Follow up. We Pakistanis, alhamdulillah, ji, we felt never proud, but alhamdulillah, we are always, ji, we are always lazy in fourth phase, ji. We plan superb sometime. We train properly. Clear? We evaluate it. But after evaluation, we keep that paper in some file. Clear? The most important here is what, ji? Reinforcement. What is that reinforcement? That whether, for example, I planned something, I trained you for that, I evaluated and I found that there are certain problems. And fourth phase, whether I conveyed those problems to you or not, whether I discussed with you or not. Am I clear, ji? In discussion, number one, as I told you, that usually we don't discuss. And secondly, when we discuss now, people mind. They consider it what? Criticism. Am I clear, ji? That reinforcement means that I planned something, I trained you, I evaluated that you are not doing it properly. Now I need to sit with you again to discuss. Clear? That is not like that I'm actually trying to go for your problems. No, not at all. That is for the corrective measures. Got my point? So, we should never mind it. Criticism is there for improvement. So reinforcement can be there, it's for improvement, or is reinforcement is actually there for improvement. It's not there for criticism. It depends. Being educational leader, make it very clear, ji. That's why I'm focusing upon it, ji. I'm repeatedly talking about it, ji. That in reinforcement phase, it is observed that problems are always there, because the people who are involved there in reinforcement, for example, being educational leader, ji, you planned, you trained, you evaluated, now you are reinforcing it, you are discussing with your staff member, your colleague, your teacher. Clear? That discussion mode is very important. Ji. How are you discussing it? Clear? It must be polite. It must be positive. It must be corrective. It must not be criticizing. Is that clear? Agreed or not, Chi? When your heads discuss your problems with you, clear? I always observe that frown, that harsh look, as if you have committed some sin, and they called you in your office and they are discussing with you, ji. No, not at all, ji. Clear? This fourth phase, clear, as I told you in the beginning, it is observed that fourth phase is very weak in our community, clear, because we are not there with this style of discussion. We always take criticism negatively. What do you think? Why is it so, ji? Why is it so that why do people take criticism negatively? Criticism is basically what? Critical evaluation is something. Make it clear. Criticism is not only negative word. In our society, it has become a what? A negative word. Criticism is of both sorts. Positive criticism and negative criticism. Criticism itself is never positive or negative. We made it negative. Criticism actually means that critical evaluation of something. Clear? That to talk about something as it is. Clear? With both its positivities and negativities. But the problem is there that whenever criticism is there, people take it negatively. Sir, ma'am, why? What could be the reason? Ma'am, do you?
Sometimes because of the way it is discussed.
Agreed. She is of the view, ji, that we take it negatively because the way of discussion is harsh. Agreed. Somebody else? Why do we take it, chi? I'm very much fond of music, chi, please. I'll leave the session and I'll go for the music. Ma'am. Be honest, please.
सर टीचर्स को मतलब जब ट्रेन करते थे उसमें उसके मुताबिक प्लानिंग्स के मुताबिक चल रही थी तो उधर लास्ट में थोड़ा सा जो क्या कहते हैं उसमें थोड़ी सी प्रॉब्लम्स है.
But why do they mind it? Sir, criticism is also personal. Na? You should take it personally. Na? When I am talking to you, obviously I am talking about you now. I am not talking about your neighbors. Just joking. We take it personal. You're right. I was joking. That we take it what? Personal. Though it's not personal, it's about that work, na? For example, you are teacher, you are admin officer, clear? You are account officer. I'm discussing something with you. I'm not talking about your personal personality. I'm talking about your work, your task, your job done. Agreed? We take it personally, ma'am.
Sometimes the idea of perfectionism in their mind, it gets damaged.
Oh, very good.
And it's very hard to.
Very good. I'm thankful. I needed these words. We try to be perfectionists. We try to pose as if we are perfect. Clear? When somebody criticizes, clear, we think that he is criticizing our personality, as he said. Clear? We think that we were perfect. Now we have become what? Imperfect. So we should be open to that. Whether it is, make it clear. Evaluation is there, we'll discuss through multiple ways. Sometime parents evaluate you. That is parents evaluation. Sometimes your seniors are evaluating you. Sometimes your parallel colleagues, clear, are evaluating you. Sometimes the result, outcome of that outcome in form of child development is your evaluation. Sometimes it is self-evident. Clear? So evaluation could be there through multiple sources. We should always remain open to it. The more we are open to it, the more we will improve. Am I clear, ji? The more we will groom. Got my point? So these 4 phases, clear, are very important, ji, in school management. Clear? May I repeat what, ji? Planning, training, evaluation and reinforcement. Now let's check these one by one, ji. We'll talk about all these 4 phases, ji, in 2 major areas. Those 4 phases are there: planning, training, evaluation, reinforcement. Clear? But planning of what? Training of what? Evaluation of what? Reinforcement of what? 2 major areas are there, ji. What are those, ji? Academic and administrative, ji, as you can see on screen. There could be dozens. There could be hundreds. I'm not saying that when I'm saying that academic and administrative, you could be there, sir, this thing is there. Agreed. Clear? But at the moment, today, as we are talking about what, ji? Basics of school management, ji. In basics, I'm referring to these 2, ji. Academic and administrative. Or you can divide different segments, as I mentioned in the beginning, what? Segments. You can divide different segments into these 2, academic and administrative, and mostly both these are entwined to each other, ji. Clear? Entangled with each other, ji. You inseparable. Though the core is what? Academics. Make it clear. Core of school management is what? Academics. Administrative is the assisting part of academics. I may repeat emphatically. The core of school management is what, ji? Academics. Administrative phase, administrative role or administrative area, administrative personnel play assisting role. I'm stressing too much upon this assisting role, because earlier, ji, once I discussed somewhere and they people posted that video on social media where I was talking about what, ji, that whoever, I'm of the same opinion. I'm repeating today that academics is the core. Teacher is the core of any institute. Clear? Whether you go for what, installation of 4 ACs in classroom. Clear? Even if you cover the pillars with gold water, that can never serve your purpose, your objective of your school establishment, unless, clear, academic officials are not supported. The basic role is always there of a teacher. Teacher works there in a classroom. Clear? Teacher is there with instilling those, clear, values or core objectives or whatever you call it into children or next generation. They work upon them. Everybody else, whether it's an education leader being what, MD. In Ahmedabad, I got this term very much, MD. What MD stands for? What? Multiple dimensions, multiple dragons. Just joking. MDs or principal or coordinators or whatever, they are there to assist the teacher. Clear? They are at service of a teacher. Because the teacher is, what should I call it, the main person at the front. Clear? Who is fighting for certain cause. Everybody else is there. Unfortunately, clear that it has become a problem that the administrative roles are given in certain schools. More importance to what? Academic roles. Clear? I strongly oppose it. I strongly object it. Clear? Or rather I condemn it. It must not be so. Above all, teacher. Who else is there? Basically, he is at service of that teacher. Because the teacher plays the main role. Na? Clear? Teacher is a pivotal role. Got my point? So I stand by that opinion still. Certain people call me that what are you saying that you crushed everybody in that. The principal is there. The teacher earns, principal enjoys. Teacher earns, MD enjoys. Teacher earns, coordinator. I agree. Yes, or I endorse. I still endorse. I'm of the same opinion. The teacher is a core. Even if there is no school, no building, no administrative staff, teacher is with certain children under some tree. He can work. Got my point? He can work. Teacher can work without all these roles. I'm saying it with much responsibility. Though these roles assist, these roles are important. I'm not negating their importance. But I'm talking about the core role. Core role is what? Academic. Clear? And that is done by whom? The teacher. Got my point? So being educational leaders, you don't mind, please. Clear? That coordinators, principals, don't mind. Okay, that they are there with their importance. With due respect. Clear? But their importance is there just because of a teacher. Imagine that. Could there be a school without a teacher? For example, you got what? Principal, MD, vice principal, coordinators, admin staff, accounts officer, everybody is there, but teacher is not there. Can you run a school? People argue with me. Once I heard a person, a nonsense sort of a person. Because now the people like me, ignorant people like me are the part of this education now. That's why our education system is declining. A nonsense sort of person was discussing with some parent. Oh gee, that teachers do nothing. Gee, he was admin there. We do everything. Gee. What you do? You are there to assist. You are just there to leave it. So these two areas are there. Gee. Academic and administrative. So the first one, academic. In academic first phase, planning. First phase is what? Planning. Planning in one word, policy making. Curriculum. What's the major difference between syllabus and curriculum? Make it clear. Syllabus is that outline you are supposed to teach. You are supposed to deal with. I may replace the term teach with what? Deal with. Keeping in mind the modern education system. That outline is called syllabus. But the curriculum is the overall plan, overall direction, overall objective of that school establishment. That what is the purpose of that school? As I said in the beginning, I may repeat shortly, that whether I want to make what religious scholars, soldiers, economists, politicians, social workers, teachers, scientists, researchers, writers. What is the objective of my school? To achieve that objective, whatever plan we make, whatever policy we establish, that is called what? Curriculum. It uncovers everything. Everything comes within that. For example, ji, what will be taught there, ji? How will that be taught, ji? Who will teach it, ji? Using what resources, ji? Keeping in children what sort of environment, ji? Establishing what sort of culture of institute, ji? That overall plan is called what, ji? Curriculum. So in that planning, ji, then further different segments are there, ji. Few examples are placed here on screen, ji. For example, what is it, ji? Your academic calendar, ji, activity calendar, ji, assessment calendar, ji, your planners, ji. I'm talking about what? Academic. We are discussing what area? Academic. In academic, what, ji? Phase 1. Planning. That how to plan what, ji? Some academic calendar. For example, ji, once I was somewhere, ji, that the teacher was having problem in covering the syllabus, ji, as I always say, ji. When I looked into that, ji, actually that sister of mine divided book into simply 2 halves. As we now count, for example, 100 pages book is there now, 50 pages in first term, 50 pages in second term. Ji. Is it planning? Clear? How to plan it? Ji? Whether the days are available for it or not. How many days are available? How many lessons are available? And what is the content of that? Which content will take more days? Which content will take less days? Clear? What is the mechanism of that? How to calculate it? Ji? We'll discuss. Ji. Then, ji, what activities must be there? Ji? What are the objectives of those activities? Ji? What is the purpose behind that? Ji? Clear? For example, ji, if I ask you, where do we go for all these? Ji? Mother Day, Defense Day, Independence Day, international days, or events. Where do we? Conduct all these activities in schools. Anybody? Ma'am, why do we celebrate?
Sir, importance. Is Mother's Day.
To highlight the importance of those days. Okay, agreed. Somebody else? School is there for studies, no? To learn chapter 1. Chapter 2, Chapter 3. School is there for studies now. Why are we going for these events or these type of things? Anybody else? Ma'am. She said that to highlight the importance of these events like Mother Day, like Independence Day. To revive, to refresh the feelings for that. She agreed. Anybody else? Sometime to develop certain skills among children, no? Through these events. When they participate, then when they celebrate it. Some of them play a managerial role in that. It also serves their confidence. It's also a source of entertainment as well. It refreshes their souls. But have I properly planned it? That is important. Are you getting my point? That just to celebrate the activities, it's not the achievement. Why am I arranging that event? What is the purpose of that? What are the objectives? Who will arrange it? Usually who arranges it? Teachers. Clear? majority of the students are there participating in what? Passive mode. And even talking about parent, they are even beyond passive mode. Don't you think that all these elements must be involved? And above all, students, they must arrange it, they must conduct it, they must celebrate it, they must enjoy it. Secondly, then their parents as well. Usually you must have observed that they are there just participating as what? Audience, passive audience. Am I clear how to plan it? So mean to say that activity calendar, it is also there with its own importance now. All the students must be benefited by those activities, not just certain fixed number of students. You must have observed that the same children are what? Participating in every event. Same Qari, same Naat Khan, same debater, same speaker, same singer. Clear? That out of 1,000 children, the same 5-10 faces are always there on stage. So, is it beneficial? Is it helpful? Is it serving the cause of education? No. Got my point? So, that comes in phase of what? Planning. Academic calendar, then activity calendar, then assessment. Don't you think that our whole system is moving towards assessment? Mumira's assessment Sharif. The whole Pakistan is struggling for what? Exams, no? Why are you going to school? Exam. Why are you sitting there in classroom? Exams. Why are you teaching? Why are you working on kids to prepare them for exams? Everything is linked with what? Exams. Don't you think that we have become exam-oriented system or assessment-oriented system? Number one thing, that it should be there skill-based. It should be there talent-based. It should be there capacity-building-based. Are we building their capacity? Are we working upon their skills? Or are we just working upon their what? Exam preparation? How to get good grades? In other words, we can say that our whole system is what? Grade-based. Everything is moving towards what? Exams. The whole system is towards what? Exams. This is wrong. And even when we talk about assessment, is it only the assessment of children? Above all, don't you think that I should be asked about it? When we announce certain results, clear? Don't you think that I should also be asked about it, that this number got failed, this number got low grades? Why? I means a teacher. I means educational leader. I means educational planner. Don't you think that we people should also be asked about it now? That every year we just announce a result. That this number passing percentage is there in matriculation. This number passing percentage is there in intermediate. What about that failure percentage? Don't you think that the officials must also be asked about it? That why? And why am I saying so? A simple question. You must have observed that number of children are there in a classroom. Some of them get very good grades. Some of them get average grades. And some of them get failed. Don't you think that that is also my responsibility? Why am I only sticking to that good grades? Why am I not taking the responsibility of that failure? I am responsible for that because he is there in a classroom. His parents can only send him to classroom. When he is sitting there in that same classroom, attending the whole session, and in the end of session, clear, I am just giving them what ji? The certificate of what? Failed one. Failure. Who is responsible for it? Me. The whole system. I mean to say that our assessment system is, our exam system is just there to check the child. No. Assessment system is basically to check the policy, to check the curriculum, to check the system. Certain analysis, being educational leaders, you will go for what? Analysis of the examination, of the performance of children. Analysis for what? Policy analysis, planning analysis, content analysis being taught, methodology analysis, strategy analysis, environment analysis. At first, policy analysis. Then after that, the personnel who are dealing with it, their analysis. How are they dealing with certain content, certain subject matter, certain syllabus? Is it as per spirit of that subject? As I usually raise this question, languages are there. Why is it so that after studying 12 years compulsory English, majority of the students have to go to some language institute to learn English? Then why is that English there in the syllabus for 12 years compulsory? Even if after studying 12 years compulsory English, the child needs to go for some language course, what's the purpose of that subject there then? At first, analysis of what? Policy. Second one, the person who is implementing that policy. Then thirdly, there comes the child, the student. That child's context, social context, religious context, academic context. Sometimes the child is not performing good. Why? Is there any system to analyze it? Why is he not performing well? For example, I must quote a simple example. That I know a girl, I taught her. She is superb, brilliant, the most regular in class. Few days before exams, her father passed away. She is mentally disturbed. Would she be able to perform in exams well? Do we have certain system to support that girl? If God forbid she is losing marks, she is not getting good grades, do we have certain mechanism to support certain children, certain mishaps? Are you getting my point? That when we sit somewhere, then we will think about certain things. We are just thinking about what placement of cameras there, CCTV, as if the whole system is alert. And just 1 month of exams. What do we do for the 11 months? With all due respect, board chairman, secretary, everybody is on toes. They are going for press conferences. That we have prepared for, as if they are going for some battle. As if they are about to treat some terrorists. That inspectors would be there, invigilation team would be there, inspection team would be there. That we got apps now, we'll check them, What is this? We are giving them a message that they are cheaters. Where are we for the 11 months? Have we checked during the 11 months that what is going on in the classroom? Who is performing well and who is not performing well? If somebody is not performing well, clear what to do for him. For example, that if analysis is there, a child is not performing in the middle of the year, don't you think that we can still do something? We can still cure it. We can go for certain measures to help that child out of that failure. Why are we always there on standby mode? Clear for what? Exam month. The whole system is what alert during what? Exam month. Are you getting my point? Are you getting now the purpose of assessment calendar? Clear, calendar is not just there for the dates. That in this month, this assessment would be there. In that month, that assessment would be there. Then final exams would be there. No, not at all. What is the objective of that? How to go for it? Then planners. Yearly planner, term planner, monthly planner. How to plan? These were the major areas. What were those? Academic calendar, activity calendar, assessment calendar, then planners, etc. In that, I am moving ahead now. In planning now, phase 1. In planning, phase 1. Phase 1. You will also be provided with certain documents regarding this. Clear that how to establish them. In phase 1, that we go for what? How to develop a calendar, yearly calendar, based upon subject allocation. So if you please turn the lights on. Based upon what? Subject allocation. That fan as well. Those lights. Don't mind, please. How will we go for it? You can see it on screen. As I said that, you will also be provided with what? Document regarding it. If you could see, and certain charts are there on screen. Are basically divided for your as a sample. 2, preschool and school. And what is this subject allocation? That how many number of lessons you allot to a certain subject, to a certain discipline. For example, usually we divide it into 2, languages and non-languages. Then in non-languages, sciences, general science, mathematics, social science, and value education, which you can also call Islamic studies or ethics. In that, can you see? For example, in preschool, how many slots are there daily? 3. Can you see it here? And in school, daily 6 and Friday what? 5. This is a sample. You can go for it what? As usually it has become a trend ji, that the school having more number of lessons ji is considered to be good. No, not at all ji. It must be their scientific ji. Clear? That and according to research ji, that average concentration level per week is there ji, what 20 to 24 hours. So if you go for it ji, if you go for that standard, it has average what ji, 4 to 5 lesson daily ji, 5 times a week, excluding Saturday and Sunday ji. If you follow the standard, what is the standard ji? That average human mind can concentrate 20 to 24 hours per week. It means that if not the ideal, that average standard. If concentration could be there with this much duration, don't you think that when I'm exceeding certain limitations, I'm just overdosing it? I'm just trying to thrust information or thrust knowledge into their brains ji. That's why they are there ji. That's attending even those classes ji, without knowing, dismantled, with least attention, with zero concentration. Are you getting my point? That's why here at Alpha Centauri ji, we are going for how many? 4 per day, 4 lessons. Clear? And alhamdulillah, we are achieving all the targets. Alhamdulillah. Prodigy. That the true work must be there, no? Not just formality. That is 7 lessons per day, 8 lessons per day, 9 lessons per day. Clear? How is it possible for a child? Am I clear? Got my point, ji? So that's why we mentioned here, ji, that preschool 3 and school what, ji? 6. And here at Alpha Centauri, I'm saying that I just gave you a sample of it. Clear? If I had mentioned 4 here, na, people would have asked me after the video, those who must be watching, that how are you? Everybody is asking that, how are you? I'm doing it, come to me. Sit, we'll discuss. Got it, ji? Then, ji, in preschool, for example, ji, English per week, ji, 3, Urdu per week, 3, maths 2, concepts or general knowledge 2, value education or EPL 2, and computer 3. This is called subject allocation. That how many lessons do I allocate to a subject per week? And in school, ji, for example, ji, for grade 1 to 3, ji, English 7, Urdu 4, Maths 5, General Knowledge 2, Value Education 3, as per requirement, ji, as per curriculum, ji. For example, here at Alpha Centauri, ji, our prime target is what, ji? We focus more on what, ji? Computer science and language. Got my point? It depends, no? For example, you are going for what, ji? Robotics, ji. So you can allocate more lessons to what, ji? Robotics. Somebody else, ji, trying to focus more on what, ji? Human sciences, ji, social sciences, ji. So you can allocate more lessons to what, ji? It depends upon your curriculum. For example, ji, some other school, ji, focusing more upon what, ji? Religious studies. Clear? That school is there to promote future scholars, religious scholars. So they can allocate more lessons to what, ji? Religious studies. Are you getting my point? That these are not biblical words. Clear? This is just a sample for you. It depends upon your curriculum. It depends upon the curriculum of your school. Got my point? If you bache, turn on that fan. ask that when it is load shedding, then turn it off because my UPS is not so strong. Got the point, Chi? Have you seen it? This is called what, Chi? Subject allocation. And repeatedly I'm saying that it is based upon what, Chi? Based upon what? Curriculum. Based upon your plan, your objective, your direction of your school. Another example, for example, Ji, that athletics sports. You are in a mood to produce what, Ji? Good athletes. So you can allocate more lessons to what, Ji? Sports or physical activities, physical education. It depends. But at first, we should know about it while planning. Then, Ji, after that, we go for what, Chi? We are talking about what, Chi? Phase 1. Clear? What area we are discussing at the moment? Academic. In academic, what was first segment? Planning. In planning, we are discussing what, Chi? Phase 1. Academics, then planning, then in planning, phase 1. Am I clear, Chi? In phase 1, we took a start with what? Yearly academic calendar based upon what? Subject allocation. Subject allocation. Clear? I am a very kharoos type of a teacher. No? Whatever I am discussing, I'll ask you about that. Alright, so keep the things in your mind. Now, this is what, Chi? That I'm just counting the days. This is calculation. This is what? A calculator. Calculator for your yearly calendar. This is not calendar. This is what? Calculator. Clear? As per subject allocation. Calculator as per subject allocation. I'm repeatedly, emphatically saying so. That I am following this allocation. Am I clear? If you people are having your own allocation in your schools, clear? So you people will change this calculator according to your allocation. Now, for example, Ji, this is for winter zone, Ji. In winter zone, January, February is usually what, Ji? Off. Clear? Due to winter vacation. Clear? In summer zone, there June and July is what, Ji? Off. Got it, Ji? Clear? That can you see the January, February, first 2 months, Ji? These are vacant. We utilize here for what, Ji? Trainings, planning, training, as you people experienced it. Got my point? We had been doing it, Ji, in January and February. Got it, Ji? I'm taking a start with what, Ji? March. In March, Ji, number of days, Ji, the total there what? 27. I excluded 6 days for what? Orientation. Usually that 1st of March, for example, if opening day. So first week is for what? Orientation. Clear? That orientation of what, Chi? Their academics, orientation of their classrooms, Chi? Orientation of their subject matter, Chi? Clear? Orientation of their culture, Chi? Orientation regarding discipline, Chi? Clear? How will the things be dealt? Orientation means how will the things be dealt? You don't have pen? Don't use it. Because it's rare, no? That how will the things be dealt? What will be the mechanism of work? What will be the working mode? So that the children may get acquainted with your system, with your style of work. Usually it happens that from day one we start teaching. Clear? Without clearly declaring certain norms, ji, that how will I work, what will be the mechanism, what will be discussed, what is the subject scope. As I mentioned that physics, if physics is going on, ji, why are they studying physics? What's the purpose of that, ji? What's the scope of subject of physics? Not scope in terms of jobs. General scope, application, applied physics. What's the application of physics? Then specific scope, job specific. What will be the content there? How will that content be taught? How will that content be assessed? Am I clear, ji? So that's why I mentioned it here. What, ji? Totally it was what, ji? 21 days, not 27, 21 days. So I excluded 6 days of orientation, ji. Then, ji, total number of days available for me, ji, in month of what? March, 15. Clear? Usually it happens that when we plan, ji, clear, mistakenly we plan according to days. No. Planning is always there according to what? Number of lessons available. For example, ji, for preschool, ji, and here it is what, ji? School. I am having for English, Urdu and computer in March total number of periods, slots, 12. EUC means what, ji? English, Urdu, computer. Then, ji, for maths, value education and EPL and GK, I am having how many lessons, ji? 8. Then for English from grade 1 to 3, I am having, ji, 28. Are you getting the point? Are you noticing the difference? That for preschool, these are 12 for English. And from grade 1 to 3 for English, I am having how many? 28. Can somebody tell me why? Why? What is this? Why is this difference?
Number of lessons are less
So-
in preschool.
According to subject allocation. According to subject allocation. Go back there. Now see. In preschools, we are having what, chi? For English, 3. And for grade 1 to 3, we are having what? 7. Means that 4 lessons per week are extra. Got my point? Are you all awake? That's why here we are having how many lessons? 12. And here I am having how many? 28. Now check, chi, grade 4 and 5. I am having what, chi, now? 20. Why? Go back there, chi, because from grade 4 and 5 English, I am having how many? 5 lessons. Got it? And here, ji, can you see weeks? The column of what? Weeks. You are having the documents there, ji. All related to this, ji. Well, in weeks, do check this, ji. That when 15 lessons are there, ji. So how many weeks I am having? 4.1 week. Simply multiply that week with number of lessons, ji. For example, 4.1. Then I'll multiply with what, chi? 3. 4.1 with multiply with 7. 4.1 multiply with what? 5. As a result, I'm having what, chi? 12, 28 and 20. So my planning in March for preschool will be there according to what, chi? 12 lessons in preschool, 28 lessons from grade 1 to 3, and 20 lessons for grade 4 and 5, for example. Then further ji for 9th, 10th, for first year, second year, as per your subject allocation. Got my point? For a sample, I just displayed here from preschool to grade 5G. You can mold it, change it as per your school or as per your college or even as per your university. Got it? Ji? The standard is the same. This was your phase 1G. And you can mention in your notes, this phase 1 is based upon what? Calculations. You just calculate the days as per subject allocation. Here comes phase 2G. In phase 2G, once again calculation is there, but from your course outline, your content. I mentioned book here, syllabus here, as we follow book. Am I clear, ji? Because both the systems are running in the world, ji. The one who are following certain book, this is called what, ji? Discrete education system, ji. And the other one who follow what? Certain outline, ji. And that outline is not subject specific all the time. That objectives can be achieved of one subject from the other one. How, ji? For example, as we were doing that day, ji, that you are having certain lesson of what? SST. And the book of SST is there in English or not? Got my point? You can achieve the language skills or language tasks from SST lesson as well. While teaching SST, you can also work upon what? Language skills, English language skills. Are you getting a point? This is called what? Integrated. So instead of arranging two separate classes for two separate subjects, I can arrange one class to achieve both the purposes. What was the purpose of SST class? To give the information or to get that child aware about certain social norm. Clear? I can also go for what? The development of certain language skill. Am I getting clear or not? Am I clear? That sometime while teaching SST, clear, we can also work upon what? Language skills. So don't you think that I can merge both the lessons, na? For example, in language, you are working upon what? Gerund or participle. Clear? And the same gerund and participle you are finding in some SST lesson. In SST, you are dealing with what? Continents. Continents of the world. That information is there. I am also extracting information. Clear? I am conveying that, transferring that information to that child regarding continents. And along with that, I am also working upon what? Gerund and participle from the text. So isn't it serving both language and social studies? So that is called what? Integrated system. Similarly, Islamiyat Urdu, you can go for it both or not? You can, no? As in preschool, ji, that day we were dealing with what, ji? Thermic concept, ji. Clear? In sensorial, we were dealing with what? Thermic, na. So while going for that thermic activity, we also did that what, ji? Language. We also went for what? Concept of short and tall. We also went for concept of some mathematics, ji, counting 1, 2, 3. So we integrated sensorial activity with what? Lingual. Clear? And with also what, ji? Numbers. With also what, ji? Concept. We merged 4 things, or we integrated 4 different things in a single activity in that preschool. And here I am talking about what, ji? Merging or integrating 2G. English with what? SST. Urdu with what? Islamic studies or ethics or value education. That is called what, ji? Integrated system. And Alhamdulillah, at Alpha Centauri we are moving towards that, ji. Got it? Coming back to Soni Dharti, textbook, ji. As Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, from Alhamdulillah to One Nas. Got my point? So that's why I mentioned what, ji? Book, ji. Referring to what, ji? For example, board classes, you are bound there, ji. You are bound to go for what, ji? Those specific books, ji. And book is also, let me clarify, book is also there with certain, what should I call it, that limitations, ji. Clear? A question could be there in your mind, that if we can integrate, clear, why are we using textbook? For integration, ji, it needs experience. For integration, it needs very much care. It needs skill. Book is a bit easier task, ji, because book is there with certain limitations. Age limitation, content limitation. You must have observed that certain people start teaching the concept of MS at FSC level. Is that right? No, wrong. Instead of clarity, the child get what? More confused. You teach certain scientific concept, ji, at what, ji? In grade 5. And the same concept is also there in metric. The same concept is also there in intermediate. But that is there with certain limitation. At first you just expose that topic, introduce that topic. Then in further class, see, as I said, that spiral progression. You expand that topic. Clear? With its variety. And at the higher level, ji, you expand it more. Got my point? So can you say that the topic of BS level can be taught at grade 5? No. So that's why textbook is also there with its own importance. That's why textbook is there. Because it has what, ji? Limitations, ji. After calculating the days or lessons, you will calculate what, ji? The chapters or the content of your book, that how many periods or slots would be required to teach a lesson or topic. Make it clear that certain things got mixed up, certain confusion is there. Because usually we call a period a lesson. And a lesson is also a lesson means one topic. As we say now, that life taught me a lesson. Got my point? So at first clarify these. Keep these two things separate. Clear? A slot or a time span, 40 minutes, 50 minutes. Classroom is also called what? A lesson. And a certain topic is also called a lesson. Am I clear, ji? So keep these two things what, ji? Separate. Here when I am saying lesson, it means what? Topic. With certain objective. For example, ji, in language, ji, one lesson regarding noun, ji. In science, one lesson regarding what, ji? Animal cell and plant cell, ji. In mathematics, one lesson regarding what, ji? Certain concept of geometry. Got it, ji? In value education, for example, ji, one lesson regarding what, ji? The practical implementation of what, ji? The concept of charity through Ramadan, ji. That is one lesson. So that one lesson will require how many periods or slots? This is called the calculation of a book. And this will be once again based upon your teaching methodology. Do mention it clearly. Based upon what? Teaching methodology. And regarding teaching methodology, ji, for the viewers who will watch this video, ji, we have already gone for teaching methodology. What, ji? That teaching methodology based upon what? Preferred learning modes. You can watch the video in detail, ji. Secondly, ji, that 5E model of instructions, ji. You can also watch that, ji. There you'll find what, ji? What is that teaching methodology, or what should be the teaching methodology? To teach what subject, what methodology is more suitable, ji? Or what strategy is suitable, ji? And how much time it will take. Do mention both the things, ji. To teach something, what strategy? In what time? It depends. A person is following certain methodology. He must be covering that lesson in one period. And another person is following another methodology. He must be covering what, ji? The same lesson in what, ji? 3 periods. So calculations get different or not? Are you getting my point? For example, ma'am, you calculated that to teach this lessons. Clear? You need 3 classes. And I am saying, ji, to teach the same lesson, I need what, ji? 5 classes. But on the basis of what? My interest? My speed? My methodology. My what, ji? Methodology. Am I clear, ji? Because in methodology, it also depends upon your students, no? Your target students, no? It can also vary from class to class, section to section, child to child. For example, the child you are having, ji, with certain poor academic context needs more time, na? Which we call slow learner. The child is never slow or fast learner. The system makes the child slow or fast. That's why I mentioned what, the child with what? Poor academic context. I didn't say that poor IQ or poor skills. No. The child was kept ignored, so he kept losing his concentration level. Got my point? So he got slower. So to teach that child, I need what, more time. And on the other hand, sir, Another child is there with what she? Good academic background, with more concentration level. To teach the same lesson, what she? I need what? Less time. So I can merge both of them. Ji. So we always follow what she? Average. We follow what? Average. Ji. Whenever we plan, we keep in our mind what she? Average child. Neither above average nor below average. We plan according to what? Average. Am I clear, ji? Mean to say here, ji, methodology is very important. Ji. This calculation can't be guessed. It cannot be based upon what she guess. That I guess, ji, that this chapter will take, ji, for example, 10 classes, ji. Clear? And that chapter will take what, ji? 5 classes, ji. It can't be guess based. It must be exact. Sometimes variations could be there. Sometimes we plan, but we can't exactly execute it. But that doesn't matter. At least we plan well. No? When you plan well, execution automatically gets better. For example, here ji, I mentioned what she? In languages, for example, ji. Reading, writing, listening, speaking. For example, these 4 major skills are there, ji. And in that, are you noticing that these 2 skills very important, ji? Reading comprehension and listening comprehension, ji. Then on the other hand, we also need to work upon what, ji? Grammar and vocabulary. Grammar means structures. Clear, ji? So languages are what, ji? Skill based. Languages are what? Skill based. And non-languages, ji, are mostly information based, ji. Non-languages are what? Information. Those skill can be there, I'm not negating it. But basically I'm saying, ji. Basically, for example, science is information, though it also involves skill. It also involves skill. But basically it is what, ji? It starts from what, ji? Information. They need to retain that information in their brain. Na? If you don't know for example, what do I mean by this information based? For example, if you don't remember the formula, can you go for the calculation in mathematics? So for that calculation is a skill, agreed. But for that skill, you basically need what? Information. Am I clear? And in languages, do you need some formula? You need a skill to speak, a skill to write, a skill to comprehend after listening, a skill to comprehend after reading. Am I clear, ji? So, as per that methodology, we discuss in detail, ji. Clear? On YouTube, the same channel, you can find what, ji? That teaching methodology based upon preferred learning mods. Clear? One session, complete session is there, ji. And the other one is what, ji? That 5E model of instructions, ji. You'll calculate, ji. And now this is based upon what, ji? Your practical work, ji. We'll go for a short practical work now, ji. That how to calculate it from your book, ji. If you please bring the books, ji. Now, ji, we got the clear conception, ji, how to calculate. Clear? That suppose, ji, the number of chapters here, ji, are 12. 22. How many are there? 22. This is what, ji? Grade 2. There, Urdu language. There, number of lessons are there. What, ji? Number of chapters are there. What, ji? 22. Clear? And chapter lesson, as I told you, that lesson is there, what, ji? Regarding one concern. Sometime a chapter is further divided into what? Lessons. Clear? Topics. So here language usually deals with what, ji? One topic. One chapter deals with what? One topic. In non-languages, ji, one chapter could be, or one unit could be there more than one topics. That's why there are what chi more lessons. Unit 1, lesson 1. Unit 1, lesson 2. I may repeat that in languages ji, usually we have what chi? One lesson. And non-languages ji, for example, social sciences ji or sciences ji, clear? Or value education, Islamiyat ji, ethics ji, there you can deal with what chi? Further topics ji, or more than one topics ji. So when 22 are there ji, clear? As we calculated ji, average we said what ji? Clear? We went for a chapter ji that was being covered in how ji? How much time ji? 3 lessons. So when I'm saying ji, for example, you make it 6 ji. Clear? If you multiply 22 with 6 ji, how many do we get? 132. And for Urdu in grade 2, how many we were having? Can you remember? Ji, for Urdu, 16. In March, in 1 month. And go for the total ji. Can you calculate it for me ji? Can you see 16 here? This one is no Urdu. Total, can you calculate ji? Total number. Add it ji. 16 plus 12. 28. Then 16. Then 16. Then 16. Then 17. Then 8. Sorry? 101. It means that for Urdu, I have 100 available lessons. And to teach this book, how many do we need? 1? Say it, number 2. 132. Means 130. So can I teach the content of 130 lessons into 100 lessons? Are you getting my point? This clash is causing trouble. We think that this is the book there. Clear? Other than matric and intermediate, because it is compulsory there. Got my point? At lower level, keeping in mind the child's context, clear? Child's academic context. If we are dealing with what chi? Slow children. Clear? I need time, na? This is what chi? A skill-based subject. I'm supposed to work upon what chi? Yes, language skill, na? And language, I told you that language, 4 basic skills are there. Reading, writing, listening. But along with that, language develops what? Culture. Language develops what? Thinking. Language develops what? Comprehension skill. Am I clear, ji? Language develops what? Communication skills. So if I'm having all that list of skills, ji, clear, and I want to work upon, truly work upon those skills, ji, with true spirit, can I work, ji, in 100? Available lessons are 100 and required lessons are 130. Got my point? So this calculation is important, ji. I have calculated all my content, chi, all syllabus, chi, all the books. This is called what chi? This was called what chi? Your calculation, ji, from book phase 2. Now come to what chi? Phase 3. What's the way out? What's the way out? That available lessons were 100 and required lessons were 130. Then I'll prioritize. Then we go for what chi? A priority list. More important or less important? I'm not saying unimportant. And it is usually developed on the basis of spiral progression. What is that? The linking things with the previous grade. Whatever is important for the next grade and whatever is linked with the previous grade, I already did there. I'll select that one first. And whatever I didn't do in previous grade or whatever is less important or less required for the next grade, I'll skip that. Got my point? I'm not supposed to thrust it all, as we usually do, that I have covered the whole syllabus. The question is not the coverage of syllabus. The question is, have I covered it as per standard, working upon all the skills properly? And you'll enjoy that methodology, as I'm referring to that again and again, as we are doing it here, Alhamdulillah. And we are having the results. That day when I got cheered up, grade 4th child, if that grade 4th child is able to write that much, they showed me a paper that day, clear assessment. I was very happy, I can't express. Because almost a week ago, they were discussing with me the problem of same child. And after 1 week, clear, if that within 1 week, it was not just 1 week, they had been dealing with that. Yeah, but mean to say that methodology is fruitful. No? It is because of their effort. No? They did that. If the child is able to write that much on his own, without cramming from somewhere, clear, not rote learning, own sentences at grade 4th, then it means that, clear, we can achieve it, and we are not doing it properly. As I always say that, we always try to fill the bag of 5 kg with what? 50 kg. Because we are used to it. No? What do we call it? Troda, tondeo and h. Even whatever is not packable, no? We can pack that. We always try to fill the bag of 5 kg with what? 50 kg. Because we are artistic. Got my point, ji? Then ji, we'll select the topics, select the units, select the chapters or whatever you call it, as per available lessons. Then we'll divide it further into what, ji? Terms. That is also artistic, make it clear. That needs an art. For example, ji, always keep it minimum in the beginning month to develop the tempo of your students. Because after vacation, usually they get slower. In the first month and the month after vacation, always keep it minimum. Don't try to divide it equally. Normally it happens, na, we divide it equally. Don't divide. For example, Eid days, that is with festivity, na? Clear? Keep it minimum before Eid and after Eid. Because attendance ratio is less. Attention level is what? Less. And usually what happens, ji? We keep the most important topics in these days. I've seen, with due respect, but apologies, even the college professors, ji, teaching the most important topics, ji, when attendance is 50% low, knowing that 50% students are not there in the classroom. Got my point? In those days, we can arrange what? Something else. Na? That is, that's what I said. Na? School management is a whole science. In those days, you can arrange what chi? Presentations. That even when the children are not there or less in number, clear, they are not getting damaged. No? In those days, you can arrange some other activities, no? Project work, presentations. You can make your teaching minimum. Instead of insisting upon full attendance, because there are certain realities I can't change. Clear, attendance gets low on certain occasions. Clear, when attendance is low, I should not go for those things which are important. Am I clear, Ji? So this was what, Ji? Your phase 3, Ji. Phase 3 of what? Planning. Next is phase 4G. How to develop planners. How to develop planners on the basis of these calculations. Here is once again sample for you, Ji. Once again, practical work is required here, Ji. Ji, now Ji, you all have seen, Ji, that how to plan from a book, Ji, how to plan from a chapter or how to plan a topic. Clear? I am also having it here on screen, Ji. For example, this is a lesson of grade 4 G, grade 5 sorry, of English G. And this lesson is with requirement of what G? 8 slots G, 8 periods or 8 classes. And here at Alpha Centauri G, we are having what G? 1 hour class. As I told you that we are dealing with what G? 4 lessons per day G. So we are consuming what Ji? 1 hour for one class Ji. Clear? To keep the thing slow and keeping in view the capacity of children Ji. So what is there Ji? That according to that methodology, can you say here Ji? That what is the content there Ji? The world in a wall. That is a chapter from English grade 5. This chapter is basically about what Ji? Scorpion Ji. A child is there, clear, and at his home a wall is there with certain cracks, clear, and in those cracks different insects are there. Among those insects, once he found what? A scorpion with baby scorpions. He was a child, so he brought that scorpion G or that baby scorpions in a matchbox into the house, clear, and he placed it on table somewhere G. Later on Ji, that somehow that scorpion came out of that matchbox, clear, and it created a fuss in the family, clear. So mean to say that it's a story, entertainment, along with a message regarding what Ji? That pet animals, useful animals and harmful animals, clear. What can become a pet animal, what cannot become, but basic purpose is there to work upon what? Skills. To develop those skills, obviously we need certain content, no? So that's why stories, poems, these different samples, always remember that in language books these are what? Samples. We use those samples to extract structures out of those samples, clear, to get vocabulary out of those samples, clear, to work upon grammar, clear, to work upon style of writing G. So whatever it is. At first G, we went for what G? That bubble chart of that Chi chapter. For example, in the bubble chart Chi, the description of that wall, then description of what? Different insects there, then description of what Chi? Scorpion is there. Got my point? So to enable the children retain the information, that is very important. Bubble chart serves what? To enable the children retain the information in their minds, along with that comprehension skill, that is listening comprehension. Along with that, what strengthening memory, short term memory, long term memory, clear, through what maintenance rehearsal, elaborative rehearsal, whatever it is. I'm not going into the detail. You can watch that video on YouTube. Clear? That teaching methodology based upon preferred learning modes. So bubble chart serves all these skills. Clear? So how much time it took? It took my one lesson. For example, clear, that chapter is there. Now I'm planning. Clear? As I said, now planning. I'm planning. Clear? For what? First lesson I gave to what? Bubble chart. Then in second day 2 I went for what? Reading of that. And we divide reading into what? 3 readings. First reading, second reading, and third reading. First reading is through what? By teacher. To extract in languages what? 2 things: language structures and information. And non-languages basically what? Information. This is by the teacher. As in your planners, you must have seen that in the columns there is also a column of manual of that. Clear? In planning manual, that how will that be achieved. Always remember that as I mentioned there, that in reading 1, what is the task, through which page, which paragraph. At first we define the task. Though today's session is not in teaching methodology, but in context of planning. As I said, that if I'm just counting pages, that this chapter, my view, and my thinking, this is wrong. We have to be exact. We have to be scientific, exactly calculated. Still, later on, calculations prove to be wrong. But at least I'm content that I planned well. No? So that's why I'm not going into detail. I'm just talking about the crux. You can check the detail from that session. That reading by the teacher through children, clear, but which chapter, which page number, which paragraph, what lines will be used to achieve what purpose. For example, as I mentioned earlier, gerund participle. Or I want to make them practice what? A different structure. And this story is what? In past. So I can give the variety of a child, as we do here. What do? We pick up a verb. For example, there was a scorpion. So I must make the child practice all the 3, as we do. There was a scorpion, there is a scorpion, and there will be a scorpion. All the 3 tenses. Clear? We make them practice in different situations. In past situation, there was. In possibility situation, there may be. In ability situation, there can be. In suggestive situation, there should be a scorpion. In compulsory situation, there must be. So I'm not reading that text for the sake of what? Translation. I'm reading it what? For the sake of what? Language development. So I mean to say that second lesson is there for the reading of text attached with certain task, with certain objective. As you people had it there in those planners, that how to plan, in that practical activity. Unfortunately, light is not there. Now you can't see it on screen, but I'm having the same here. Got my point? Now I talk about reading of non-sciences. There I'll not go for all these things. From sciences, I'll just raise questions. That what is going on? Who is doing it? What is being done? How is that being done? Why is that being done? In science, reading is just to extract what? Information through kids. Teacher will not extract. Teacher will be a facilitator. Because the concept has already been discussed in what bubble chart. Majority of the information they know about it. Now they are getting justification of that information from that textbook, from that written material, from that handout, from that worksheet, whatever it is. Got it, chi? And obviously it takes time now. So I gave it what, chi? A whole lesson. And I did it, means teacher did it, through children. It is also called sample reading, ji. Then, ji, third class or third period or third slot, I went for what? Reading 2. Second reading. Second reading is by whom, ji? By children. Here once again we define a task. For example, task is there just to get the answer to certain question, ji, information, comprehension based. It could be there, ji, some concept of language, structure, grammar. It could be vocabulary. And it could be some information, ji, in non-sciences, ji, for example. For example, ji, parts of human brain. Okay, this is my task. I have already discussed it in what, ji, bubble chart. Now I am actually making students, I may repeat the words, I am not reading it, I am making students read that and extract the same information from textbook. They themselves must be able to extract the information. That what are the different parts of human brain? Got it, chi? If you turn out the light. As I always say, na, main bhi sahi sara zamana. Always I have to tell. And I'm worried that after me, who will tell? Now AI is there. You use technology. Got my point, ji? That once again here on your screen, ji. Reading 2. I'm going back, ji. Reading 1, for example. Sorry. It is here. Reading 1. Task. Find past tense, ji. Change into what, ji? Present and future. Clear? Can you see in the manual? Students will pick the verb from sentence, ji, and answer WH questions, ji. Teacher will extract structures, ji. Verbs, helping verbs. Involving children. Teacher himself will not do it. Teacher will do it, but with their involvement. Are you getting my point? Then, ji, can you see day 3? Reading, ji. Now, ji, can you see? In second reading, students will be given the task. It could be there individual, it could be there in pairs, and it could be there in groups. And teacher will roam among them to help out, ji. In first reading, I did that. Clear? By getting them involved. Now, in second reading, I'll give them a task. And I'll ask them to open their books, extract the information, but I'll not stay here. I'll roam among them. I'll be there among them. Whoever is weak. And this is called classwork. You make it clear. As repeatedly I'm telling you. In that session you will find all the details of that. What is this methodology? Clear? This is basically to help them out. Usually when we say that children are not doing homework, because they can't do it. If you want to improve homework, clear, improve classwork. And this is classwork. When they are doing something and you are with them, you are standing by them to support them. They get stuck somewhere, you help them out. Then day 3, are you noticing I once again went for what? Second reading. Next day once again I went for another task. Now, are you noticing that usually what happens that we keep on teaching? Teacher is active all the time. Here I am doing what? I remain till what, ji? First lesson and first period, first slot, first class and second class. From third class onward, I am engaging the children all the time. Can you see? Day 3, second reading. Day 4, second reading. This is a worksheet along with that, ji. Clear? If you talk about day 3, day 4, can you see ji, day 3 ji? Once again ji, reading task is what ji? Find prey and predators. This is what? Comprehension question. To check there or to practice what ji? Comprehension skill. Can you see day 4 ji? This is once again comprehension question ji. But along with that, a worksheet is also there ji. Change the sentences ji. Into what? Past. Here you change the sentences into what, ji? Present. Change the sentences into what, ji? Future. Got my point? Because this is language, na? If it had been there, for example, science, ji. So this could be there, what, ji? Just comprehension. That what are the different what are the different parts of human brain? Then, ji, what are their functions? Got my point? That's why I always say that language teaching is much more difficult than non-sciences and non-languages. Because in sciences you have to clarify the concepts. And for the clarification of concepts you need what? Certain skill. So what comes first? Language or non-language? Language. When a language teacher is working properly, now for example, to understand science, you need what? Comprehension skill. And who will develop comprehension skill? Language teacher. Got my point? You may not take it mistakenly that I am a language teacher, so that's why I had to highlight importance of language teaching. I am saying so. No. I am discussing it according to education point of view, because the task, otherwise, if you just remove the task of language teacher, skill development, what is actually language teacher for? Just to teach stories? As you did what chi tota, time karta tha. Scorpion, having kids, scorpion in matchbox chi. Ringa roses. Then you say, ji, Ringa Roses is a useful poem, ji, very useful poem. Ji. We are in World War III. Are you getting my point? Yes. That the task of language teacher, if you just remove all these things, comprehension skills, speaking, reading, writing, if language teacher is just there to make them cram what she the answers to certain questions, or to just certain summary, or what she reference to context, or what she meanings of certain words. Meanings, that child can learn the meanings at home. Got my point? Question answers at home. Translations are now Google can translate that. If English teacher is just to translate that book na, so you can get a better translation from what chi? Baba Google. Then everywhere in timetable mentioned ji, English teacher, Baba Google. In first year, who will teach ji? Baba Google. In 9th, who will teach English ji? Baba Google. Then make Google teacher everywhere na. If you remove all these things, there is no task of a language teacher. There is no task. Urdu, with all due respect, that we are not concerned with kakule pecha. Got it, ji? Nane Nazneen. That Ghalib, even whatever Ghalib didn't imagine about, we try to contemplate that. We try to interpret that. Whatever was not even in the thinking of Ghalib. We try to get those meanings, and we just, that is there for enjoyment. In this verse, the poet says that. Were you sitting there with the poet? Did he tell you? And I am always, with apologies, he's just in a lighter note, I am always amazed at the confidence level of elaborators, the way they elaborate. मेरी जिंदगी का हासिल तेरी गली के फेरे. Got it? If I'm supposed some poet said so, it's up to you now. What gully do you mean? Normally you take your own street. A pious person is there, he must be taking the streets of Makkah Medina. You are thinking negative. Be positive. Are you getting my point? That was not the purpose. To develop literary sense is a purpose achieved. To develop thinking, that is a purpose. But before that language, when language is not clear, how can somebody understand something? If I am saying, ji, being a language teacher, I am developing literary sense, ji. For to develop literary sense, at first I need language now. Clear? If I am not aware about the meaning of that word, clear? How can I understand that? Or how can I develop my taste for that? Are you getting my point? If I am not aware about the vocabulary of Urdu, Diroz Dabistan Sara, Ama Tutiyane Khushnava. Clear? Enjoy everybody. Oh, wow. This is not Urdu, Persian. Iqbal's majority of poetry is there in Persian. Abd Digar Abdu. I'm just showing off a little bit. I know about it. Abd Digar Abdu, Cheeze Digar, Ma Sarapa, Intizaru, Muntazar. This is not Urdu, mixture of what? Arabic and Persian. And I am what? Urdu teacher. Am I teaching Urdu? No. I'm a language teacher. I am a language teacher. Though I am there to develop their taste for that. But along with the taste, the basic purpose is to what you develop what? Language. That was important, ji. So that's why I took time in that. So are you noticing? That's why, ji, we are giving more time to what? Languages exercises. In non-languages, we'll give what? More time to what? Clear concepts. Concept development. Got it, ji? Or the purpose according to that. Sir, I observed, I was somewhere in some classroom. Some Urdu teacher was delivering a lecture and a poetry segment was there, I think first year or second year. Clear? Will you believe that when I left from that class, it seemed to me that I'm also going to become Majnu once again. Because he created such an environment now. As if there's, or rakha kya hai, what you call that? तेरे सिवा जिंदगी में रखा क्या है? Sorry? तेरी आंखों के सिवा. देखे, he knows about it. Such type of verses you can remember because you are taught like this. Okay, now got it. I just got the point. What did he say after that? It's by Faz, na? It's by Faz, na? The same one, na? और भी गम है ज़माने में. It's the same one. Something else? Okay, then sorry. But if you read Faz in that, na? और भी गम है. But in the beginning, the poetry is romantic. But when you read after this line, na, this is called to be the turning point in the life of Faz. That when he says that he is watching what bloodshed, blood, hunger, then his romance is what? People. Then social service becomes what? His romance. Previously his romance was what? Kakule pecha, tikhe nakush, mast donan. Previously he was this one. But in the same poem, dude, you must read that. I love it. That gives you the true conception of poetry or literature. We mistook it. He said, in the beginning he says that you are everything for me. But in the middle when he reaches now, then he says that और भी गम है ज़माने में मोहब्बत के सिवा. Clear? Then he says that what are the और गम? Poverty around you, ignorance around you, misery around you, clear? Pain around you, agony around you. And what is your role? That then he defines that. Is it my only role to earn money, eat and die? Clear? What is my service? How much I benefited? Clear? Or how much benefit people got from me? How much I am useful to my society, my surrounding? Then Faz gives you this idea and the same ghazal. In the beginning, it seems to me that Ghalib is actually taking you to that gali, teri gali. मेरी ज़िंदगी का हासिल तेरी गली के फेरे. But then he takes you out of that alley. Then he takes you to another street. Clear? Which is more charming, if you ask me now. That is the true romance. Romance of what? People. Clear? His people. Because he is in romance with his people. And when you fall in romance, fall in love with what? His people. When if somebody is able to remove some misery from human life, that's why it is called now. That the biggest mystery in universe is what? Human misery. Biggest mystery. It seems now our lives are our mysteries, no? Our problems. Sui gas bill, bijli bill. Got my point, ji? So mean to say that language teacher was not there for those type of mumbo jumbo connotations or interpretations of those poetic lines. Clear? Those were there to get ideas out of it. Clear? Just. And along with that, language. Along with that, expression. How to express that. Got my point, chi? Then, this was what, half. Then I needed what, one more day, Are you noticing what? The lesson was lengthy. Content was lengthy in language. Though I said that in language usually we go for what? One topic, no? But content was more, material was more, information was more. So I had to go for what? 2 bubble charts of that. You can go for it. You can divide it into 3. You can divide it into 4. But are you noticing the complete cycle? Previously what? Bubble chart. Can you see it on screen? Then readings. Then worksheet of that. The next bubble chart. Next readings. Got my point, Then it's worksheet or whatever exercise. Here worksheet means task. It could be exercise task, workbook task, or whatever it is. And sometimes if task is not suitable, you can develop on your own. The books are not divine books. The person who developed the book, he must be there obviously with his own purpose. But if you think that it is not matching your requirement, you can develop it on your own. As we say, na, that this is there in an exercise. Got my point? If in exercise 5 blanks are there, for the whole life, we keep revolving around what? Those 5 blanks. People go for Tawaf-e-Kaaba, we go for what? Tawaf-e-textbook. Tawaf-e-exercise. Mumiraz, Imtihan Sharif. Am I clear, ji? Get out of it. If that exercise is not fulfilling your requirement, make your own. And if you can integrate that, as I said in the beginning, you can integrate. You can achieve the same thing from what? SST topic. Even from some science topic. Because scientific material is also written in what? English language. Got the point? And in English language specifically, they go for stories or something because that is based upon from different situations of life. I may clarify. You could be there with a question. Sir, then why are we using textbooks of English then? Why stories there? Because between stories and those type of things, different situations, life-related situations are there. So language is what? Life-based, situation-based. That's why we go for stories, poems or such type of things. Otherwise, we can achieve it from what? Science. Because in science, language situations are not there. Scientific language is peculiar. Got it? Am I clear, ji? So, how many classes, how many periods or how many slots I needed for this one lesson? 8. How many? 8. So, my plan will be according to what? This 8 one. Got the point, ji? After that, we'll go for next phase. That is what? Teacher's allocation.